Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today I wanted to start with a book called As A Man Thinketh, written by James Allen. Now this was originally a book I read for the first time in 2008 when I first started on my journey of studying metaphysical teachings. This was one of those first ones that always stuck with me as well. There's a few of these books that I've already shared, but this is also a very powerful and almost poetic book in the way the author described the power of thought in his own way. This was also written over 100 years ago, so again we got one of those old ones, but still they are gems full of wisdom that I wanted to start sharing with you today. So since the book is very short, I think it will take me about a week or maybe even less to get through it, because most chapters are short, so I'll do multiple ones in one video. For this introduction video I'll just stick with the first one, because the next one, chapter 2, is actually the largest in the book itself. So that one is going to take a bit more time to go through. We'll do that tomorrow. So for now, let's begin with the foreword of this book. And James had the following to say. This little volume, the result of meditation and experience, is not intended as an exhaustive treatise on the much written upon subject of the power of thought. It is suggestive rather than explanatory, its object being to stimulate men and women to the discovery and perception of the truth that they themselves are makers of themselves, by virtue of the thoughts which they choose and encourage, that mind is the master weaver, both of the inner garment of character and the outer garment of circumstance, and that, as they may have hitherto woven in ignorance and pain, they may now weave in enlightenment and in happiness. And that was his foreword. Now the first chapter is titled Thought and Character. So essentially it's going to tell us about the connection between thought and how you behave, and the results in your life, how they come about. He started out by saying the aphorism, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," not only embraces the whole of a man's being, but is so comprehensive as to reach out to every condition and circumstance of his life. A man is literally what he thinks, his character being the complete sum of all his thoughts. As the plant springs from, and could not be without, the seed, so every act of man springs from the hidden seeds of thought, and could not have appeared without them. This applies equally to those acts called spontaneous and unpremeditated as those which are deliberately executed. Act is the blossom of thought, and joy and suffering are its fruits. Does a man garner in the sweet and bitter fruitage of his own husbandry? Now I know I'm mispronouncing probably some words here because of the simple fact that some of these words are so uncommon to even read in metaphysical books. I mean, the few lineage here, few words I mentioned here, I've never seen them being used in any other metaphysical book other than perhaps the Bible, where some of these old school English was used, because that's what it sort of sounds like to me personally, but maybe I'm wrong on that. But this first few paragraphs, what are they talking about? Well, I like to look at it as a reminder that our attitude in life is made up of the way we think and feel. So the way we behave as a person, the way our character is built, is driven by the way we think and feel. So if our character, our attitude is not right, is not creating the right sort of results for us, we're going to have to go back inside of the mind and change things around within the conscious, subconscious mind. We're going to have to think and feel completely differently about ourselves and our potential in order to grow towards a new direction. Obviously, that's always the main theme of all these metaphysical teachings and the videos on this channel. So it's pretty interesting that he also wrote about it in his own poetic way. He went on to say that man is growth by law and no creation by artifice, and cause and effect is as absolute and undeviating in the hidden realm of thought as in the world of visible and material things. A noble and godlike character is not a thing of favor or chance, but is the natural result of continued effort in right thinking, the effect of long cherished association with godlike thoughts. An ignoble and bestial character, by the same process, is the result of the continued harboring of groveling thoughts. Man is made or unmade by himself. In the armory of thought he forges the weapons by which he destroys himself. He also fashions the tools with which he builds for himself heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace. By the right choice and true application of thought, man ascends to the divine perfection. By the abuse and wrong application of thought, he descends below the level of the beast. Between these two extremes are all the grades of character, and man is their maker and master. Of all the beautiful truths pertaining to the soul which have been restored and brought to light in this age, none is more gladdening or fruitful of divine promise and confidence than this, that man is the master of thought, the molder of character and maker and shaper of condition, environment and destiny. As a being of power, intelligence and love, and the lord of his own thoughts, man holds the key to every situation and contains within himself that transforming and regenerative agency by which he may make himself what he wills. Man is always the master, even in his weakest and most abandoned state. But in his weakness and degradation, he is the foolish master who misgoverns his household. When he begins to reflect upon his condition and to search diligently for the law upon which his being is established, he then becomes the wise master, directing his energies with intelligence and fashioning his thoughts to fruitful issues. Such is the conscious master, and man can only thus become by discovering within himself the laws of thought, which discovery is totally a matter of application, self-analysis and experience. Only by much searching and mining are gold and diamonds obtained, and man can find every truth connected with his being if he will dig deep into the mine of his soul, and that he is the maker of his character, the molder of his life, and the builder of his destiny. He may unerringly prove if he will watch, control and alter his thoughts, tracing their effects upon himself, upon others and upon his life and circumstances, linking cause and effect by patient practice and investigation, and utilizing his every experience, even to the most trivial, everyday occurrence, as a means of obtaining that knowledge of himself, which is understanding, wisdom, power. In this direction, as in no other, is the law absolute, that he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. For only by patience, practice, and ceaseless importunity can a man enter the door of the temple of knowledge. Now that's the end of the first chapter. Again, as I said, they're very short, but again, as you can hear, they're very poetic in the way they were written by him. What are we hearing about essentially here is what I started to decide for myself way back in 2008, and even before that. I knew unconsciously that I should analyze my own mind through meditation, to really start to discover for myself at a young age already that if I think and feel in certain ways, it sort of benefits the results that I'm getting. I grow in better directions in my life, perhaps back in school, in other objectives that I had at the time. But then when this book came in my life in 2008 and I started to take these teachings about the mind more serious, I was like, this is it, man, this is what I gotta do. So I immediately made a decision right then and there that is what I was going to dedicate the rest of my life to, is to analyze my own consciousness. And then if I discover more and more ways on how we can be more successful and happy and effective in life, working on our own dreams, whatever they may be, then I'm going to share it with the humanity. And I did exactly what this book suggested at the end of this chapter. I kept analyzing my own life and the results I was getting as a music producer for quite some years, almost a decade, as a writer, as a YouTuber, as a filmmaker. Well, we're not talking about feature-length film, but short videos, films, fictional films for the most part, but they were short films, short projects basically. I kept analyzing how things came into being in my own life, the sort of results that I was after and the effects that I saw it have in the world. And then as I kept reflecting back the state of mind that I was operating from and the results I was getting, I could see more and more clearly how we can, as individuals, more effectively achieve goals that we set for ourselves, so that we're no longer stuck with just hoping that something happens. We know we can make stuff happen by this reflection on thought and circumstances, that's what he's talking about, and that is exactly what I've been doing, and that's something that hopefully you are already doing. But if not, it's still something you might want to, well, experiment with for yourself, because this is how you develop wisdom in your own way and over your own life, is by analyzing it for yourself and what your mind is doing and what sort of effects it has on the results you are getting in your own life. And that is all that this chapter is reminding us, again, in a very poetic way. And the rest of the book is going to be like this. His way of writing was in this manner. So hopefully it's not too bizarre for some people out there to hear this. The first time I read it, I thought it was kind of beautiful in a way and unique. So that made it interesting to me. But tomorrow we're going to go on with chapter 2. And since it's a short book, I'll try to finish this, well, within a week or something. Or maybe a week at max. Anyways. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.